Hi everybody, it's Hannah from Mother Goose's Makery and I'm here today to make Tonic Studios Radiant Rucksack gift bag die set, which is my favourite make from their recent Cyber Week set of launches. So it's a little A5 die set that makes the cutest little rucksack. If I just open it up, you've got loads of examples in here and your instructions. And then it's a super compact die set. Okay, so you've got your large outer, which is your main shape. This is your lid and also the front pocket. This here is the front flap. This makes your sides. Because it's a compact die set, there are little extenders for your sides to make them fit, but all become revealed. And everything else is a little adornment. So this is the little sticky up bit that goes through the strap in the buckle when you're doing it up, and that's the rest of the buckle. That's a little toggle for the drawstring, a little clip closure like you get in a rucksack, a tab for your flap. That's like a little logo thing. Got some zippage, a grommet for the drawstring pouch. Zip, another zip. These are the flaps for your front pocket. These go on the side of your lid, tuck in. This attaches your extender to the sides. These are the two opposing sides of your pocket to make it like an accordion. And this die works hard for its money. This one, no, not that one. This one. It's multi-purpose. It does your straps. It does your flaps there. It does your handles. You need like 10 of these per bag. But it's a great die. And it's got a lovely detail on. So what I've done, because you don't need to see me cut out a load of pieces, because it's just regular die cutting, regular sandwich. What I've done, the first bag I made, which is lovely, is this one here. I made this out of 250 GSM pearlescent cardstock because, you know, never make life easy for myself. I've decided to go down to 240, and we're not going pearlescent because it's easier to make non-pearlescent card stick. But let's get started. Can't see my bits, they're just out of range, but they're there and they're beautifully cut out. Right, so we start off with 4 of the main side piece. 2 for inside and 2 to go on top to hide our workings. What I've done is I've just put red liner tape around the outside, because you'll see as I just reach for these are your sides, but they have quite narrow flaps. There's not, by the time it's connected to this, there's not a huge amount to stick down. So I've just put some very narrow red liner tape on so I can get an instant grab. I'll put some glue on as well to make it doubly strong, but I just wanted to make sure I got the grab because I'm a horribly impatient crafter. So what we've got, already done this side, just the other side, and this one's already extended because, as I said, it's a short die set. So what they've done, the pieces only go to about there, and you just need to add on this little bit to go the rest of the way. So we get our side, we get our side extender, which has 2 little like foldy-in wings. I've got my glue here. And then you just have this very small connecting piece. Then what I'm just going to do, just run some glue along it. And then I'm just going to place that up to the dotted line halfway, because I think that's as good an indication of any as to where you should be placing. And this one, just line it up, and that will go on top. Make sure it's squared up, press down, and we're just going to give it a minute to stick. So I now have 2 of those. I've already scored and folded all the flaps. So the 2 at the top, which make it a little parallel. No, it's not a parallelogram, it's a rhombus. It's a parallelogram. It's a parallelogram. And these long sides and these little flaps that go around the corner. And then these 2 bits make up your base. So the first thing you need to do is, can you see the dotted line along here? That's gotta go. So I'm just going to grab my scissors. You can also do it with a guillotine, but that would involve me bending down and picking up my guillotine, and I'm just being too lazy. I apologise for my very bunged up sounding nose. Right, so we just trim that down. We folded all the score lines. And then the other side, we're just going to apply glue along that little line we just cut off on the other one. Basically, that's the joining flap. But instead of making us have 2 different dies, it's just one die, you just cut a flap off. And then what we can do is we're just going to attach each side to either end of the base. So today is the day after Black Friday. So I have just spent all week watching Tonic's lives. And I didn't buy everything, but I bought most of the stuff. I had to show a modicum of self-restraint and didn't get the robot, even though he was very cool, because I just don't have anyone to give him to. What I'm just going to do, I'm just going to use my fingers to just ever so slightly start curving this, because it's going to have to go around the corner. You can also do it on the edge of your desk, just pull it down, just to give it a bit of a curve. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to have a little bit of shape, just makes it that little bit easier when it's going around the corner. So, now I'm going to take my first side. This is my back. It doesn't really matter. They're exactly the same. And if I was a really organised crafter, what I would have done was take off all my red liner tape first, because by and large, red liner tape is horrible to remove. But luckily, I have burnished it within an inch of its life. So it is peeling off like a dream. And that's the trick. You've got to make sure it's properly adhered. If you do that, it'll come off. Right. This bit at the top, I'm leaving on because that's going to be to attach the lid. Oh no, the static of like these have gone everywhere. Right. So what I like to do is I like to put glue in between all my bits of red liner tape, because I find that extra little bit will just give a bit more stick. Maybe I'm fooling myself. Maybe I'm just trying to give myself confidence that my project isn't going to fall apart. but it seems to work. So I'm going to start off at one end. And we're just going to line up the top of that with the top of that. If you can hear scuffling, it's my dog Barney and his little claws on our wooden floor. He's just coming from his walk. Right, so as we go along here, I'm just going to push this up. Really what you should do is, can you see in the middle there, there's a little mark. And you're supposed to line that up with the little mark in the middle here. Did I do that? No. Am I naughty? A little bit, yeah. Will I pay for this later? We'll see. The first bag I did actually line that up properly. But then I also I do this wonderful, it's so funny, if I'm making furniture, I will read every instruction and I will follow it to the letter. And apparently when it comes to die sets, I go a little bit rogue. I'm like, I see the shape of it, I'm like, put this together. What do I need to know? Does that work? Yeah, sometimes it does. Does it always work? No. So the first time I made this, I apparently hadn't, I think because I was busy watching a live at the same time as I was trying to make it, I cut not all the pieces out and I stuck the base on and then I stuck the sides on, and I was completely baffled because the sides only went up to here, and I was like, well, this seems weird. I don't remember on all the samples I saw seeing short sides. What's going on? I'm like, do I have to fold something? And then I realised that no, I'm supposed to extend the sides, which it says very clearly in both the cutting guide, which lists the side bits and the attachments, and also in the actual instructions where it says you should do it. So at that point, I realised that maybe I should read the instructions and do it properly. And yet, this time, though I have attached the bits I was missing initially, am I doing it in order? No. No, I am not. See, some people are just gluttons for punishment. And I'm basically a glutton in just all senses. Right, so you can see, and the thing is, because we're going to hide our workings by sticking another piece on top, it doesn't matter that we've used tape, because we can use oodles of wet glue on the top layer, because you don't need the instant stick because you're just laying it on top of this that's already there. So that's one side done. Now the other side, we're going to de-red liner. And because I had forgotten my own advice, apparently if you put, sorry, side note, and I love the fact I'm going to give you a tip and then not actually do the tip as it is, and hope it still works. Apparently, if you put red liner tape on kitchen roll, you do not have the same issue of the static and it going a bit mental. However, my kitchen roll is unsurprisingly in the kitchen, and I'd say it's that I'm too lazy to stand up, but more that if I stand up and go into the kitchen, I'll probably fall over. And my husband has gone out to buy ice cream because I wanted ice cream. So I'm just putting it on a tissue and hoping that that works sufficiently. But it apparently does. So yay. If you don't want your red liner tape to go absolutely everywhere, which I find it does because it is static as static things. It's as static as a Van de Graaff generator. Then just put it on some tissue and hopefully I can just tip this up. And it went in the bin, first go. That is a great tip. If you take nothing else from my demo, take that. And my work here will be done. Especially because I didn't work here. Right, so here's the middle bit. Here, which is there, which I just realised because obviously I'm putting that on the inside. I can't see where it is. So it's there where my fingerprint is and my little nail mark. So you want to line that up with this little mark on the middle. That's about there. Now at this point you can just do it out to the side. I'm making this look a lot harder than it is, which is an impressive skill. Not a great skill to have, but an impressive one all the same. Okay, so there you go. Line that up. Pop that in. What I was going to say before I got sidetracked by the whole tissue paper kitchen roll red liner tape-ness was I had forgotten my own advice that because we will be sticking a top layer to it, we don't actually need to put glue on for extra stick on this layer, because obviously we will be putting glue all over the top layer and that will be sticking down. So that will do the job of the stickiness of glue. And actually, if you don't put glue on the tape, it's an instant stick, which if you, like me, are an impatient crafter, you will relish that. So, I mean, that's the main body of your bag done. And then obviously you're just going to stick your back on your back, like that. And your front on your front. And that's the main shape. There's so many other things to stick to it, so we're just going to hold fire on that for now. But know that when the time comes, we will stick it on. It will hide the workings and it will make everything infinitely stronger. So, what I've done is I have cut a lid out of patterned paper. And then, because I'm ever so slightly extra, I recut the piece because the lid is made out of two pieces and both have a flap on this side. The pattern didn't quite match up when I did them next to each other, so I then cut this bit again from further up so that when I stick them together, the pattern pretty much matches. Because I'm a ridiculous person. So anyway, what I've done, because the inside is a different colour, and because I like to be a bit matchy-matchy, I have also cut myself a lid in tan. So what I would do is I'm going to run some glue along the curved edge, along the flappy folded tab edge of the curved front flap, and stick that straight to this. Also, I think the paper that I'm using is 200 GSM. So although you can use it for the flap and it will hold absolutely fine, I wanted something a bit more robust. So you can see that that flap would stick to that bit of tape at the back. and that would make your flap. And now it is looking like one of those foldy-uppy Longchamp backpacks that folds up in on itself that everybody had when I was in my early 20s. So now I'm just gluing my decorative flap and roof to the base layer and just inserting my little magnetic tab, which I will explain to you in just 1 second. So anyway, we cut 4 of these, so 8 per pair. I left, of the 4, 2 were blank and 2, I used the die that cuts the grommet out and just discarded all of the middle. So I had 2 with donut holes in the middle. So I stuck down 1 complete one, then the 2 with the donut holes. I placed a small magnet inside and then put another complete one on the top. So sandwiched in here, I don't know if you can just see that circle, is a magnet. So that when we shut, this will be stuck to the body of the bag, this is on the flap, and it will just shut with a satisfying clunk. On the first bag, what I did, I hid magnets in here between the 2 layers of the flap. And then I hid a magnet between the 2 layers of the front. So there's a magnet in here and a magnet in here, and that's what caused it to flap. Ignore the little... Sorry. These little weird 6-sided shapes, these are the flaps that go either side of the flap. They're the flaps of flaps. So we're just going to put glue along either side of the longer edge and insert it in here. So it would be easier if you had glued it on before the top layer. Did we do that? No, we didn't. Did I have this problem with the first bag? Also, no, I didn't. See? It's performance anxiety. Get me on a camera and I just start doing dumb things I would never do. Plus I put the instructions out of reach, so that as well. Right, so I'm going to insert this here. We are going to put the pattern layer down on top, sandwiching it in, keeping it nice and safe. There we go, that's better. So now we have that and that. That's much better. All right. And then we're just going to re-stick this edge back to the red liner tape I put on the back flap. You can fold them in. They go inside. Fold that down there. We get some instant grab, and then of course we'll be sandwiching the other layer on top, so that means we will not be able to see that join. So we've got our main shape of our bag. Now we need to stick on our very front. So we get another one of the side cutouts. Next, we're going to need our pocket. Now, the pocket is made from 2 of the rooftops. I cut my own packing card. Because I put a piece of card the wrong way around, I've just made a little hinge. Normally, the hinge that you use to attach to the bag, this one here, is what you would stick the other one to. So you'd have just like a V shape. Anyway, we have our V-shaped little pocket. And then for the flap of the bag, again, so it fits in the die set, they've made this out of 2 pieces. We have a lefty and a righty. One of them has flaps. I'm just going to glue along. Just seal it along the line. Then I'll just pop that to the side to set whilst we continue working on the pocket, and we can then add that at the end. So these are the 2 pocket sides, and they come like this, a weird little triangle type thing. It has 3 crease lines on it, so you just do a mountain, a valley and a mountain, and that's on each side. And that just means that when the pocket opens, it will like concertina out from front to back. Might do it a more logical way this time. So just put the slanted side in first. And you'll see that it just goes up to the first mountain fold is what goes along the edge. And then when that's lovely and stuck, the valley fold, other mountain fold, and you can just enclose that. Make sure it's pushed in, pinch it shut whilst the glue holds. And then, for the finishing touch, I'll flap that is now firmly glued. We'll just apply glue to the rear side of the flap. And then we are just going to pop trying to do it so it's nice and clear what I'm doing. Pop that so the flap just goes along the pocket. Now, you just want it so. What I've done is another pair of the magnet closures, just because I think it'll look cute and matchy-matchy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply glue to this side. Because it's the front flap, I just don't care enough about hiding this. You could do a double flappage. And then the easiest thing I would say is to just guesstimate using the line in the centre of your flap as to approximately halfway. Now, this rear one, what I've done is I've just cut off the top flap, so it'll just be like a little semicircle there, that it will finish up. So, in order to find the correct place to glue that, my daughter very helpfully discovered that my red liner tape fitted perfectly inside my washi tape earlier, so just had to extract that. What I'm going to do, tiny bit of red liner tape on this one. And that is just for the instant stick. A dabby piece of red liner. Okay, so the red liner tape, we're just going to pop down. Give it a burnish with scissors, or your bone folder probably is a more sensible thing. Then you peel off the top. And then I'll pop glue on either side. That'll be for your longevity. But I just wanted the red liner tape in the middle to do the instant stick. So that we know that's not going anywhere. Pop that like that. Fold it down. There you go. There's one beautifully magnetic closed. Right, now this one, again, the flap is cut off. I always just throw it on, because if you put the glue on the wrong side, so say you put the glue on this side, and then you're like, you try to close it, and you're going, why isn't this shutting properly? You've got to make sure your magnets are the way around. So I kind of throw it on, then you know that the magnet's doing what the magnet does. It's attracted the correct side, and you don't have. So that's perfectly lined up. And we're going on the bag. And we have our second pocket. And that is just going to be placed further down. Now, for the other decorative bits we've got. I have cut out 9 grommets, and then on each one I've cut out the little curved piece. So I'm going to dissect it. Will be that one here, and the grommet is there, and then I've glued the grommet to the outer underside so it looks like it's threaded through and running behind the fabric. So I've done that with 4. Then I got one last circle, and I cut out 2 of the straight edge, just here, and I've glued them to the underside of the top. This one here, this little chap, I've cut out of the blue, and I've just folded it around the 2 strings so it looks like it's one of those toggles you pull up. And then this tiny cheeky chappy here, the one which looks a little bit like a bean, a stitched bean, has made the 2 knots on the end, which I think is utterly fabulous. Bravo to Jodie who designed this, because I think that just makes it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to glue our adornments on. So first things first, I want to put these on the side. then the middle dangly one, I'm going to apply glue to the top. But what I will do is I will leave the bottom unattached, so it genuinely does look like it's dangling. So that's just going to go in the middle. And that perfectly hangs just shy of the attachment. Perfect. And I love the fact that that just, so I'm going to glue it, it's glued just like to shy of that. And then these aren't attached. And they just kind of hang free. And I think that's so cute. And then the last one. And I think the little touches like this are such a clever part of the design set, because it takes it from looking fake to being real. It's glorious. Right, so that's that. I'm just going to pop it on this side. Approximately the same level as the other one. Perfect. It is now the time that I like to call strap o'clock. What I've decided for this bag is I'm going to use the buckle die, which is just a one-piece die. It's here, and it makes a fabulous buckle shape that I've cut out of Ink Gold Mary. Now, I was trying to think in my brain how I wanted to do this. I think what would be fantastic is if you hadn't put magnets here, because obviously this doesn't really clip in and clip out. If you had two of these, if you die cut 4 of these, had a top and a bottom, so it was gold on both sides, sandwiched a magnet in the middle, and a top to the bottom, sandwiched a magnet in there, so that when have one there and one there, obviously they'd be the same way round and they'd click together. But that's not what I've done. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stick, I've just folded, I've threaded that through the loop and glued it behind. I will glue that there. I will glue another strap to the top. Because it's not a real closure, because you already have the magnet, that will just thread in there and it will give the look of a strap without actually providing any function whatsoever. Purely aesthetic based. Or I think if you were to have a bag like this, but put the magnets behind the pocket here and here, and in the back of here, so it clips and that becomes magnetic, rather than having the magnet in here. So they would shut, because then that will keep this shut, and it will keep this shut, and it will keep the buckles down without actually having to operate the buckles, because it's operating the buckles every time that I think would be a problem, because my daughter's like in, out, shake it all about with anything in a bag. I didn't think it through when I first made it. And this again, you can just see the buckles here that I've just threaded through. And then they're stuck permanently, so that's not going anywhere. But on this bag, it's going to go somewhere. So, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to place this pocket on first. But I wanted to ensure that it wasn't going to compromise. I didn't want to put it too low down, so it would get in the way of this bit. So, just going to apply glue to the back of our pocket. Would red liner work of tape? Yes, it would have. And then what I'm going to try and do hard to tell. I'm mentally just trying to make it straight. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But the rainbows go. These look vaguely in order, in line. That's as good as it's getting. Even this angle, it looks wonky. I think that's right. Okay, we'll go with that. Now, just going to apply glue to here. And then I'm just going to stick that next to where the base straightens out. Only because I don't want to have to deal with trimming a bit of it off for the curved edge or have it overhanging. So it's just laziness on my part. I'm not creating another job, because if it's a bit further over, then I'd have to start curving it off. And I don't want to. Possibly move it out a smidge. And what I'm going to do, a little bit of glue on there. Down. Just follow that up to the top of the box. Next one. Just thread it through. Stick it at the top. And if you want, you can also pop some glue just. I wouldn't go the whole way down because I do like to have some movement and stuff on 3D pieces. So it feels a bit more realistic, but also you don't want it to fall off. So you got to find that sweet spot between those two. Thanks. I think that's good. So those are my straps on the front. For the top here, I'm just getting these two, and I am going to apply glue all the way along here. Very simply flip one the other way around. And glue it, and that's going to make a nice, robust, looped handle on the top. Because I was planning to do a top carry handle like this one, but I'm also tempted to do a little hook. Let's change it up. What I'm going to do, I've just lightly curved it. I don't want to completely fold it, but just like that. So it can hang on something. Do it that way. Yes. Okay. Now you've already got the red liner tape there. So I'm just gonna. This is why I haven't stuck the back up, because I was like, am I going to end up doing something inept with the straps? Probably yes. Yes, I am. See, I know what I'm like. And the piece we're gluing, I'm just going to run that along here. And I'm going to do that thing I do where I kind of wipe it off. There's only a little bit of glue on there. Because I just want it to stick. The same. If you have good glue, which I do, with Overlux, love it. You'll often find it less is in fact more, and that if you go more heavy-handed with your glue, that's where you start running into problems. So just kind of rub it in a bit. Then we're just going to line this up with the top. Straight along the top seam. And then everything else kind of just falls into place where it should. Might need a hand inside. This is quite hard when something is unstructured to just get all your edges in. So just push those in. You want to push out from inside. Let's take some tape. Let's get that. Last things last. Oh, penultimate things last. Just done a little blue label with the star cut out. Sometimes it's just the way things are, we go with it. Right, so for the straps, just going to glue these together. So we're just going to put spot glue right along the bottom here. Just where literally just where the stitching is. And then just place it over. Pinch it tight. Let that dry ever so lightly. Makes sense just to follow the lines of everything else. I'm just going to pop it like that. Glue that. Just by that strap. What you have to do is you have to wait for your glue to hold, which is something I am terrible for not doing, because I just whack some glue on and then go about my day. Karen and Leah and Ali always say you should be kind to your glue. I'm rarely kind to my glue. Me and my glue are in a semi-abusive relationship. I just use it. I'm not kind to it. And then I go, haha, you are stuck with me. And it goes, I do not appreciate glue puns. That is where we're at. Stick that side down. I think the problem also is when you're making a video, you're thinking, this person doesn't want to spend 10 minutes waiting for my glue to dry. It must be quick. And you rush it. You make a knob of yourself. Glue. Glue. Ah, see, that's better. Right, so here you have your glorious rucksack. It's quite roomy inside. Assuming you can see inside. Got a lovely little threading design. Sorry, my light went out. Tuck those flaps in. That shuts with a satisfying clunk. This also is magneted. A cute little pocket. You can put your message to the person. Mine is lined with the same pattern. And that shuts with a satisfying clunk as well. And then purely for aesthetics with zero actual purpose served. Because the magnets are doing all the heavy lifting. And that is your perfect little radiant rucksack.
Hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, please like and subscribe so you can see more of my crafty creations. There's an affiliate link in my bio if you wish to purchase anything from Tonic. I do get a small commission, but it doesn't cost you anything. And if you have any questions about making this, then please pop a note in the comments.